This podcast will fail. Of this, I am pretty certain, because nobody's going to listen to it, but you might prove me wrong. Who knows? I have to admit, I do feel like I'm finally falling into a little bit of a rhythm, and this would be episode 4. And I am once again in the front seat of the car on the lunch in the park. I rather like this setting. I come here pretty much every day. My office building is about a mile down the road from here, and this is just a nice little town park with some picnic tables and a little amphitheater thing and some baseball diamonds and all that good Heartland America stuff that you expect. It's a nice quiet spot to sit and eat my lunch and listen to mostly audiobooks. Right now I'm making my way through Stephen King's The Dark Tower series and recording podcasts, apparently. So where are we at this point? I've been sort of trudging through what I think I realized last night as I was editing episode 3 and getting it posted. What I realized is quickly devolving into like a pity party. Oh, woe is me. Look at how hard I try and how things don't work and it's not fair. It's not what I want this to be. And if you have listened to any of the other episodes, I hope that's not what it comes off as, because that's definitely not the intention of these conversations. As I said earlier on in one of the episodes, I want to do this to see what happens when I just make something and post it without going through all of the motions of trying to get it seen and trying to get it heard and trying to get people to follow it and trying to build fans and trying to get clicks and trying to do all of the stuff that I do every single time I come up with a new creative project that really doesn't ever actually work in any real way. This is truly meant to let me work through my own hang-ups over 15 years of trying to get famous. And I think that's really where I have to limit the pity party aspect of this whole thing and keep myself focused on the point. And even that alone, what I just said in the last 4 seconds is probably a little bit of a rambling statement too that probably doesn't make any sense to anyone but me. So let's continue on with our journey. I started out kind of examining my creative endeavors in life and walking through the first, now, at that point, I guess 30 years. I think 30 years. Yeah, I'm going to be 45 next month. So the first 30 years of life of trying to make things that are interesting and that people would want to listen to and watch and see and be a part of. And all of the little non-starters early on, whether they were messing around with cassette decks and trying to make radio programs, to writing a fiction novel that wasn't worth even writing, and eventually to my first real endeavor of internet radio, which was fairly successful for a couple of years. Didn't ever reach any kind of celebrity status. Didn't make money off of it. Spent a lot of money on it. Looking back at all the websites I built, all of the paying for monthly streaming costs and website costs and URLs every year, and I don't know. Oh God, I didn't even say yesterday that I sunk money into a ASCAP BMI radio license so that I could play music on a 24-hour music station that I set up on the website. And that was pointless, absolutely pointless. Sinking $1,200 into a broadcasting license for 10, maybe 15 people a month to actually tune in and listen to that music for any length of time. I don't know. It was more of that same sense of, if I build it, they will come. And I think that was the mindset I followed for so long, so foolishly. If I build it, they will come. No, actually, they won't. Some of your friends and family and some of the original friends you made and some of those other endeavors will show up once in a while to give a token, they'll flick a quarter in the cup for you, but that's about it. And after 4 years and some varying levels of success and notoriety, I folded it all up and walked away from internet radio. That was 2012 is when I finally shut everything down for good and just walked away. I realized today, when I was thinking through what I was going to talk about, that there was another brief flash in the pan idea, another spark of genius that I had a little while before I shut it all down, and I think I tried to carry that through after, which is, I had this brilliant idea that, look, for the last 4 years, I have been creating all of my own graphics, all of my own artwork, all of my own sound, and all of these elements that went into building the radio show, bumpers and teasers and stingers and backtracks and commercials. And at one point I was even selling commercial airtime on Fiverr.com. Hey, for $5, I'll build you an ad and I'll run it on our station for 4 weeks, and I did, and I might have made $100 doing that whole venture. But I had it in my head that I could translate that into a business, and I think that was probably the first time that I thought of a business, right? See, I'm thinking out loud here, and having these conversations with myself is causing me to remember other stuff that I just forgot. And actually, and I hate to backtrack, and nobody is actually listening to this right now, so you don't care if I backtrack, because it's just me talking to myself. But no, there was another business. There was 5 seconds of inspiration when I was running the radio station. As the show itself was winding down at the end of that 4 years, and as I was thinking about how to continue on with the internet radio station with all of these other talk show hosts and DJs, there was probably a total of about 10, I think, or 12 people that were actively hosting their shows and their DJ sessions on my website. How do I translate that further as I started to see these people peter off and peel away and go and do their own thing? How do I keep this relevant and translate it into something that would be bigger and be more tangible and more sustainable, and how to get me out of working 40 hours a week? I had this thought that I could go and compete with local radio, FM broadcast stations, right? I thought, there's a way for me to break into this quote unquote marketplace with my website, because this was the dawn of when a lot of stations were just starting to stream. This was during the period of time when iHeartRadio was just coming to be. And since so many stations were getting into streaming now content, and certainly, you're in your car, you're wherever you are, and you've got your radio playing and you're listening to FM, whatever the hell, and everybody's got a morning zoo, everybody's got a Howard Stern wannabe, and present company included. I was just another Howard Stern wannabe, just like every other radio show host, morning show guy. No different than Rover's Morning Glory, no different than Opie and Anthony, no different than Howard Stern, other than I was a complete failure. That's really the only difference. But I thought, what if I made like a guerrilla campaign and I went and disrupted disrupted the game for the local radio stations, right? Because during the spring and summer, certainly in the fall, you'd have all these times when radio stations would have a booth at a park or at festivals. All the festivals, the radio stations are there handing out goodies, and the DJs are broadcasting live from this park fest. And I thought, wow, I can get in there and I can take a little dig, and I can be like this thorn in their side, and I can put together this whole concept of guerrilla radio. Like, oh yeah, man, like, and I remember I was even gonna, because I had the broadcasting license, I was even gonna use Rage Against the Machine's guerrilla radio as sort of the mantra, as the marching point. So it never happened. It never happened. It never even started. It never got off the ground. It never went anywhere. And I guess I'm thinking through why. Why is that? I think it's two things. Well, here we go. Here's today's revelation. I think I have two major problems. One is I think that I am unduly susceptible to analysis paralysis. And I say that out loud, and I taste those words in my mouth, and they taste right. Analysis paralysis. Like, I can't ever just let it out and just be done building it. It's not perfect yet. It's not ready yet. It's not right yet. I can't move forward yet because I need to do this, or I'm not ready to launch because I still need this. And man, there's another broken spoke on the wheel of my creative life here, is that not being ready to actually jump and get in the water keeps me from ever swimming. And that's not every time. I mean, I did move forward with the radio show, and I did move forward with the internet radio station, but I think when it came to the point of wanting to compete in the real world and maybe try to build a business, the analysis paralysis, I think, left me in a spot where I just got cold feet, and I was too afraid. Yeah, I think I was too afraid to actually move. And the fear is from a very practical place. You know, I've said previously that I'm a family guy. I have a young family. I've been raising kids for, how old is my oldest son? 22, almost to be 23 next year. I've been paying mortgage and car payments and car insurance and groceries and school supplies and taxes and going to work every day, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week sometimes. I live in a real world with gas and electric payments that are due at the end of the month. And I've had it in my head for so long that I want to be a business owner of some kind, but I am stopped dead by this. To me, it's just the reality. It's a stark reality that I don't have the money to start a business. You can't just quit your day job and open a hot dog stand. No, you'd have to have, God, I'll tell you about the hot dog stand idea sometime too. You have to have seed money to obtain the proper licensing. If you're going to start a restaurant, you have to get your place built or rented or somehow put together. You have to invest in equipment, supplies, everything you need to actually physically build the thing. You have to get that. That costs money. You have to get all of the proper licensing and all of that together. Like, there's startup costs for a business. But in the meantime, all of those other bills that I just talked about don't stop. They keep coming. So not only do you need the seed money to actually build the thing, you need money to live off of in the meantime. And I guess the combination of that analysis paralysis plus never seeing how I was ever going to come up with the seed money to get started is what stopped me dead in my tracks when it came to this idea of the guerrilla radio station. And I'm sure, as I think through other scenarios, that is exactly what has happened with some of the other ideas that I've had around building a business or around somehow being, self-employed and a professional creator. That's really interesting to me because that's not where I intended to go with this episode. I was primarily going to talk about how at the tail end of the radio station, I was gonna make a services website. I guess what graphic arts and voiceovers, and I was gonna set up my own website and sell those services through Fiverr. And I don't know why I didn't. I think I know why I didn't. I think it was I think that one was very much imposter syndrome that held me back on that one. I think in my head I thought, oh, this would be so cool. Say it with me, kids. I can do this. Right? That right there is the driving mantra through my entire journey. Oh, I can do this. I want to do this. I see other people do it and I can do that too. Except that I don't have the formal training of any kind. I don't have the real credentials to position myself as someone who is, the word's not worthy. That's not the right word. Someone who is qualified to expect people to pay them for such services. I could not countenance the fake it till you make it in these particular scenarios. So that went nowhere. That did nothing. And so that was, so here we are. We're basically now at the end of 2012 and realizing that I am, for the first time, completely tired and completely drained of any desire to create anything at all. Period. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to draw. I didn't want to record. I didn't want to create. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to turn on any piece of equipment and I didn't want to make anything. And that was weird as I look back on it now, and I try to get in my own head from that period of time and try to understand why it is I walked away completely. And I think that was the first time that I just reached the point that I've kind of reached now, here in 2020, with this podcast, which nobody is listening to right now. There's more. There's more I need to explore. But I feel good about this one. I feel good. This made a lot of sense to me. So if by some chance you happen to have listened to this thing, wow, thank you. Especially if you're still here, which very likely not. I don't think anybody is actually making it this far into anything that I ever make, so that's fine. I'll tell myself, thank you, sir. But if someone's out there, thank you as well. Thank you for investing the time. And I will pick this up again tomorrow, and we'll explore some more. For now, that's it. I will stop here and just say thank you, and I hope you have a great day.